In this video, we're gonna get a little bit personal with something that's sincere and dear to me. I wanted to share a story time about one of my biggest struggles, which was my dental journey. A lot to unfold here. I feel like our teeth is something that we don't really talk about as often as we should, especially if your parents maybe didn't take care of that when you were younger. This is gonna be a pretty tough video for me to make, but I want to share my experience and my journey because I do think it can help other people, and also it might make you guys feel a little bit more comfortable. At least that's what I'm hoping you get out of this video. You already know what to do. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let's jump into this one. Okay, so where do I begin? Because this is so difficult for me to talk about, but I felt like the time was right because I'm in a way better place now. It's when I was a young kid, and I remember being in second grade, being insecure about my teeth. I don't hate my smile. I don't think it's ugly or anything. I love it now. But at the time when I was younger, I remember like I was looking at my teeth and I had a gap and other people didn't. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, why am I different? And people would make comments because, you know, kids are going to be kids. But it later connects with me as I get older. Started off with those insecurities, and I remember growing up, I really wouldn't like smile so much. I would kind of, you know, grin or whatever in photos. And I always wanted to feel like I was the same as everyone else, but I wasn't. Like, my teeth just looked different. When I got older, I started to, you know, think about my teeth a little bit differently. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should go to the dentist and like take care of my teeth, because I felt like when I was a kid, my parents didn't really care to do that. Like, they didn't have that as a priority. Like, to give you guys some backstory, like my mom literally used to work from like 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. I come from 2 immigrant parents. Also, my father worked 2 jobs. They didn't really have time to take me to the dentist. Like, I know that sounds so crazy and irresponsible, but it was like my reality. I feel like every single time I went to the dentist, they would try to get me to get braces. I never wanted braces. I still to this day do never want to even look at braces. It just is not for me. It's not what would make me happy. And I decided that I'm not going that route. Fast forward, ended up having a baby tooth where my canine tooth is at. Your canine tooth is kind of like, think about like where your fangs would be if you're a vampire. It's like these 2 sharp teeth are your canine. And I had a baby tooth that did not want to come out of my mouth, and it was neglected throughout my childhood, so that when I grew my adult teeth, my adult tooth actually grew behind my baby tooth that refused to leave my mouth. So here I am with such weird structure, a gap in my mouth. I had a baby tooth that didn't want to fall out. I had an adult tooth behind my you know, baby tooth. Like, it was like a mess going on in my mouth. And I would feel a little bit insecure because the adult tooth grew so much that I would literally bite my tongue with my tooth. It was insane. And, you know, even opening up about this is pretty hard because these are things that I was like privately dealing with. Like, people would always, you know, compliment me with other things, but I was always so insecure about my mouth and what I had going on. And I felt like growing up, I didn't really have too much control because my parents didn't really attend what was going on there, right? So as I got older, I had to deal with this issue, and I decided that I wanted to do something about it. And I remember going to a dentist, and I remember just finding a dentist right off of Google, and I was like, hey, you know, like, I would love to maybe like get this back tooth removed, and like, I don't mind keeping the baby tooth. Can you give me options? And every single dentist wanted me to get braces. They wanted me to get rid of the baby tooth and then have like a space there and try to move the tooth in the back forward with braces. I'm like, no, I can't do that. Like, I literally have a job where I'm in front of the camera. I don't have that type of time. It's a mess, let me tell you. I looked into veneers. I looked into, do I just carve down this tooth? Like, what do I do? I felt so hopeless with what was going on. And let me tell you guys, I even went to a dentist in my town, and I'll never forget how much of a traumatizing experience this was for me. First of all, going to the dentist is already so intimidating, so when you experience a very bad dentist, it just like kind of scars you in a way. And I remember going to this dentist and I explained them my concern. I just wanted to get the back tooth removed. I don't mind like getting Invisalign, or I want to get veneers or whatever. I was so close to getting veneers, and thank God that I didn't. But hear me out. I went to this dentist and I told him about like my concern and stuff. Like, well, at least I told one of the receptionists about my concern. I told one of the receptionists about my concern. She tells me to come in, whatever, book an appointment. And I ended up going the day of my appointment. I sit in the chair and I told the dentist what I wanted to get done. He didn't even look at me. He didn't want to look at me. I don't know what it was about me. He just glanced once he got into the room and didn't want to stare at me when he spoke to me. He had his back turned towards me, and it totally like, I don't know, I felt so uncomfortable that day. And he was like, oh, you're wasting your time. No dentist will ever do this procedure. You need to just get braces and you deal with it. Like, he was so mean that I remember, and I'm pretty like tough most of the time, but like this was such a traumatizing experience. And there were two women in the room, and I remember that these women also didn't say anything. They were like, his assistants or whatever they were. And I remember that they didn't even say a word. Like, he was like so mean to me. I don't know if he was having a bad day or what, but he was extremely mean that I ended up storming out of this dental office. I went to my car and I literally bawled in tears. Like, I was crying. I was like, why did this person treat me like this? Like, I just had a few questions about something that is already so uncomfortable to talk about. And I truly do feel, and this is why I wanted to share my experience in this video, that there are so many other people that may be going through the same thing. There might be something about you that you want to change, and you're just too afraid to maybe ask a medical professional or seek some consultation or advice. And I'm here to tell you to not give up on whatever it is that you're trying to change, or just something that you want consultation about. And it's okay to Google things or seek answers from medical professionals or people in whatever profession for whatever it is you're trying to solve. But I felt like in this very moment, I felt like I was being shut down, but I didn't get shut out. So after going through this traumatizing experience that kind of scarred me, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I kind of took a little break on seeking help. And I remember I was just venting to the guy that I was seeing at the time. His brother-in-law actually happened to be a dentist. So he said, hey, like, I would like to just share your experience and your story with my brother-in-law, with your permission, of course. And, who knows, maybe he'll have like some consultation. It was really helpful that he did that, because I was able to get into a FaceTime call with this dentist and get some real consultation. Just when this last dentist told me that I was hopeless, this one was giving me a little bit of hope. And eventually I flew out to Michigan and got both of my teeth removed. Now, I'm gonna warn you, it was pretty graphic, and I'm about to share some photos of that experience with you. But I do want to give you guys a warning that these photos are a bit graphic that I'm about to share, and I'm sharing them in 3, 2, 1. Both teeth removed, and I had a big hole in my mouth. When I tell you guys, it was scary. It was like a gigantic hole in my gums. I was like, oh my goodness, but everything turned out okay. The recovery absolutely freaking sucked. I'm not gonna lie, that was the worst part. I could not eat. I tried having soup. It was really, really bad. I had to have gauze in my mouth for like 2 weeks. It was so bad. Through it, and eventually I healed just weeks later. So at this point, I had my gap, and then I had a huge space where the canine tooth was at and where the baby tooth was at. It was such a large gap there that I'm like, OMG, I need to now figure out what I'm gonna do. Am I gonna get veneers? Am I gonna get an implant? Like, what are my options? And this dentist that I saw in Michigan, he actually explained everything to me, and it was so awesome because I finally felt relieved. Like, wow, I got this done. I'm gonna be okay. I didn't know this was possible. If I would have went based off of what the first dentist told me, I would have been absolutely miserable. Actually got Shiny Smile. So if you don't know what Shiny Smile is, it's like clip-on veneers. And let me tell you guys, I have a love-hate relationship with those because they felt like plastic. They looked really good. They also didn't look like me. Like, I don't know, maybe it was just I look too perfect with that on. I have a love-hate relationship, like I said, with the Shiny Smile veneers. If you were to ask me, do I recommend the Shiny Smile veneers, I say it doesn't hurt to try it, see if you like it. Personally, I used it for only a few weeks, and I still own my pair if I ever wanted like the perfect smile. But it was a little hard to talk in them because it felt like I was like I had plastic in my mouth. I am so glad I didn't get real veneers because I would have closed my gap and I wouldn't have been happy. You know what I mean? Like, with a perfect smile, it just seems so fake to me. It didn't seem like Jen. It didn't seem like Miss T. This wasn't me. So what I ended up doing was I got a bridge. And if you don't know what the bridge is, it's kind of like a fake tooth that has these two like clips that hang to the teeth next to it. And that was a cool temporary fix until every time I bit into a bagel, it would come out. My tooth would come out. And it was so embarrassing. Let me tell you, I went through so much embarrassment trying to fix my damn teeth. And I don't feel like too many people talk about this. Like, it's so tragic. And let me also throw in there that I was paying everything out of pocket. So it was super expensive, and teeth are so expensive to fix. So if you have a good smile or you're a parent that has children, please take care of them while they're young because it gets so expensive when you're an adult. And at the end of the journey, I got an implant, and it's actually this tooth right here. It's fake, but it's drilled in. It's not going anywhere. This is actually the plastic one that they put before the actual real one that's made out of like more like of a ceramic. But it's been a crazy journey. Overall, it's been insane. I wanted to share my experience with you guys because I feel like you guys will look at me and be like, I had no idea. If you are someone who feels a bit insecure about what's going on in your mouth, you're not alone. Trust me, you're not alone. I felt so insecure, maybe a little bit embarrassed to even open up about my experience. If there's something about you, whether it's your teeth or something in your physical appearance that you want to start changing, just know it's never too late and you can totally do it, and you're not alone. I don't know if we have enough conversations about how important oral health is, and you know, there's really no shame in talking about these things, and it took me a long time to realize that. I really hope that this video resonated with somebody or helped you guys just understand that you're not alone and it's totally okay. So I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and you already know what it is. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe so you can stay up to date with the next story time I got coming your way, because I got some crazy ones in the bag and I can't wait to share those with you guys. And until next time, deuces.